My name is Matika. I serve as the District Programs Manager. And today we just want to have a conversation on climate change. Climate change, how it affects us as youths, how it affects our communities, and how it's affecting the entire planet ultimately. But it's not all just doom and gloom. We would like to, I know there are some that are into climate action, some that are doing something. So it's also an opportunity to share, cross-pollinate ideas at times. You can learn something new from.
Welcome to Hwange Chronicles, where the community voices shape a sustainable future. Meet the youth of Hwange, Zimbabwe, stepping up to tackle climate change. In Zimbabwe's heart, Hwange faces climate change challenges. Rising temperatures, changing rainfall patterns, and extreme weather events threaten livelihood and ecosystems. Climate change brings devastating extreme weather events, droughts, drying up crops and water sources, floods destroying homes and infrastructure, heat waves endangering human health, storms displacing families and wildlife.
A little bit interactive.
Wildlife ravaging forest habitats. In Hwange, these events manifest as drought-related crop failures, flash floods, heat waves, and dust storms. The Zimbabwe Empowerment Initiative and Y.E.T.T join forces to amplify youth voices. Community engagement sessions share experiences, concerns, and innovative solutions. Join the conversation. Hwange residents, especially youth, share ideas, projects, passions. Together, let's craft sustainable initiatives to adapt to climate change. In conclusion, shape Hwange's future with us. Share thoughts, engage with the community, and inspire change. Stay tuned for updates and get involved.
It's not climate change, it's per such, but what this type of weather is, one of the characteristics of climate change, within rapid drops or rise in temperature. But in this case, the long-term change in weather patterns. The Earth has been slowly increasing in temperature since 1800s, Industrial Revolution in Europe. Industrial Revolution, then what they did is a lot of the now developed countries traveled across the globe, set up colonies where they were mining fossil fuels. Back then there were no lama minerals, but the technology did not exist to use it. So energy sources for a very long time, coal has been the primary energy source. You have other energy sources, but coal has been the prime time energy source. You also get it even in terms of charcoal, from burning trees. That's what we've been doing to using the energy. So unfortunately, what happens now is harnessing fossil fuel in challenges. It creates unintended impacts on the user and the environment with which the user uses the fossil fuel in question. Coal in a problem in fracturing a coal bond in a waste that is at the other end, in good processing, which is what, for instance, when we stand here, when you face plants, would that be south? Campus, I'm not sure. But when we stand and face that way, that end of the town, you see plants now are releasing a lot of soot and air pollution. It's not, if soot can be broken down into smaller other items, atoms. We have carbon in there, we have hydrogen, there are other things. Then issues of where coal is found, methane is also in the area. Methane now is one of the most problematic greenhouse gases we have, right?
Also by ukuchisa lani ukuthi amanzi ase national park ayaphangisa ukuwoma, and izihlahla zangale that don't offer much food, so those animals have to come this side okuhlala khona abantu, right? And then also kulama social problems that come with the climate change. We don't really exercise a lot as abantu because kuyachisa, so e-health it deteriorates, which leads to immortality rate being high up there. Abantu, they are dying of depression, heat stroke, into ezinjalo. Okay, and then mitigation strategies. I think we need to develop a social vulnerability index as a driver ESG. We need an index just to gather information. If there is a mine that's coming or whatever company that's coming into our area, what impacts are they going to have on our community? And after a long time, if we gather it data, then we can then go back to that company, which I know the company has been polluting. We have had this much diseases over in danger. So we need a SVI, social vulnerability index, just to gather information on our activities. Then also we need to petition the government to make it a mandate, corporate social responsibility, even a mandate yonke I company ebuyayo to do whatever activity that they're going to do. Yeah. And also in towns, to mitigate indaba food security, we need to try new farming technologies like your aquaponic, hydroponic plants, and vertical agriculture where they don't need sand or land, just need to go up. And then also awareness activities like this very one is we need to take information to abanye abangakwanisa ukuya lapho, and labanye abasole bakwanisa ukuya lapho. People might need this information very much. Thank you so much.
Alright, so we started by effects of climate change, where we mentioned about we have some temperature challenges, and also noted about increased drought in our area. Then we also have migration of both people and animals. But in animals, we're talking about the wildlife animals. Then we also mentioned about food security, and we also talked about moving machinery. Those were the effects we talked about. Then when it comes to those mitigations related to those effects, on temperature, we talked about we need climate proof of housing.
Climate proofing.
Then on increased drought, we mentioned of plant of indigenous trees that can suit the temperatures of our areas. And also on food security, also talk about those where we call cloud setting or rain harvesting, so that we can also, that's some of the strategies to reduce the issue of drought in our area. Then on heavy moving machineries, on our mitigations, we suggested that we have to put in place, I think, the activation of the railway line, so that we avoid the use of those trucks which are loading coal, to reduce road distractions. Then on the issue of On the issue of working conditions from those who are working on the minings, there's also need of buying PP clothes for those workers. And also, that's where we talk about that interesting story of allowances, climate. Yeah, we suggest that there's need for improvement in all those companies, those mining companies. And also coming back to on those issue of food security, uh, I think non-governmental organizations and also those the social welfare, they are supposed to continue chipping in for those food to continue the supplying of food handouts so that we can continue having paspemina. We are done.
Okay, good day to you all. I'm from Group 3. My name is Makomborero Swangani, as I mentioned before, and I'll be talking and presenting on behalf of Group 3 on the question that reads, how is climate change affecting us as youth in Hwange, and the strategies that we can use to combat this crisis. Firstly, I will start by defining the topic climate change, which refers to a long-term change in the average weather patterns that define Earth's local, regional, and global climates. These changes are primarily given by human activities, especially by the burning of fossil fuels, in our case, which is coal, which increases levels of greenhouse gases, in our case, which is carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide in the atmosphere. This leads to a rise of Earth's average surface temperature, commonly known as global warming. The key indications that we can see or that we can use to see kuti chii chiri kumboitika, or why can we say that we are having climate change in Hwange are the following. Number one, we see this by the rise in global temperature or our local temperature. Right now, I can testify that our temperatures today are around 35 degrees, which is abnormal. Number two, melting ice. Well, as I mentioned before, like this is a global challenge. We have places where there are icebergs and all that. There is melting ice, which is their sign of climate change. Number three, sea level rise. Our sea levels will be rising, and then extreme weather. These are the key indications that we can see that we have climate change in our country or in a global situation. I am going to delve in as to how climate change is affecting us as youth in Hwange. Number one, from Group 3, we discussed that climate change is affecting our businesses. For example, the poultry, those in the poultry business. We all know that, like you once said, that when we are doing chickens, it is well known that in Hwange you don't do a chicken business in October because of the high temperatures. Why? Because they will die. So this factor will fall under our two pillars, that are the social effects and the economical effects. How is this affecting us socially? Ukudza kudhura. And meaning that as human beings, we are going to be affected because we are no longer eating chickens, right? Economically, it's going to affect us Me, I have been keeping my children, I have been sending my children to school using that poultry business, man. So agriculture, economically, it is affecting me as a parent, right? So hence, we raised the economical and the social impact in this first point. Number two, fridge cooling devices are affecting we all know that if it's very hot, my fridge are freeze, yeah? The fridge, they don't freeze. And why? Because the coldness is being opposed by the high temperatures that are being experienced. And meaning that those who are in businesses of selling drinks and water are being affected, right? Thereby raising a social and a political effect, a social and an economical factor in this point as well. Number three, we have the health risks. We had ladies in our group that were complaining, even the gentlemen were complaining that due to these high weathers, our sperm count is reduced, right? The ladies also were complaining that due to these high weathers or extreme weathers, their monthly periods will also be affected and their hormonal system will be affected, thereby listing this under our social impact on how climate change is affecting us as the Hwange youth. This is a very serious problem, guys. Why? Because we are talking of future children and future kids that we are supposed to be having. We are no longer having those. Why? Because of these climate changes, right? Uh, we also talked about healthcare. We talked in the healthcare. We talked about, yes, the sperm counts and the menstrual cycles, but in a general perspective, there is dehydration. We see that I myself had already drank 3 bottles of water a day, which means that economically it's draining me. And then social, health-wise, I'm sick because of dehydration. I'm now sick of because of dehydration, headaches and all that. And our healthcare system, there's only parasites at the Hwange hospital there, meaning that it's affecting everything, right? So this will also even raise our immortality rate. People are dying of this hydration and all that, right? It also causes, say, cancer. It's causing cancer, these high temperatures, because of the direct sun rays that are being caused by the depletion of the ozone layer, which is being caused by global warming, meaning that we are also dying of cancer, right? Our life expectancy rate in Hwange is very low. It's a miracle if you live beyond 65. Why? Because of these effects, right? Are we all in agreement? Thank you. This also has affected agriculture, ladies and gentlemen. Where we are seeing that agriculture, people do not even know what to farm right now, because today it seems like it wants to rain. As a farmer myself, I could have ran to the fields. Like myself, I won a jersey, thinking that it will be cold. But because of climate change, I'm not feeling hot. You understand? Same with the agriculture. It's the same situation with the agriculture. A farmer was in the field right now, happy that the water has finally come and they're already planting seeds. Unfortunately, the sun came again. You understand? So it's affecting even our agriculture. It affecting agriculture means that it's also affecting economically. How is that so? Right now, if you go in the TM or Pick and Pay or whatever shops that we have in number one day, maize, a simple maize minimum is now $17. Of all the things, our staple food is expensive more than anything. Why? Because of these factors, climate change. So agriculture is affecting economically, socially, even politically, because we no longer trust our politicians because we think that they are the ones causing climate change. So it's causing a havoc. So as group 3, we came up with suggestions. We said, guys, what can we do? Like, what are the strategies that we can use to tackle this as the youth of Hwange? We are here, we will not go anywhere. We will not give up on this town. Number one, in terms of agriculture, we are going to come up with, we are going to adopt the drought-resistant crops. We are going to make use of the drought-resistant crops. Educate people on which ones are the drought-resistant crops. Even if it's what you can plant something, you can survive on something, right? There are different variations of the maize seed. The others that are drought-resistant and others that are not drought-resistant. We want to educate the community on that. Number 2, change our warm source of energy. We have discovered that our source of energy, which is coal, is causing all these problems. Why not use solar? Why not use solar? Right? Which will also bring sort of like a solution on the table. We also talked that on the problems I left out about transport. Imagine all of us in here, we have cars. And these cars are emitting carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. If we all use our cars to go to number 1, imagine the amount of carbon dioxide that is in number 1, right? So we came up with a strategy. It's not a pleasant one, but it's a strategy. Why not use public transport? Number 1, let's make use of public transport. Number 2, let's make use of the emerging technology of the electricity-powered cars. You understand? Yes. So as a group 3, I believe that we are very intelligent when we came into this thing. Number 4, we came up with a strategy as well that why not have one house? Why not have more of these workshops? Climate education, teaching people. Right now we have been taught what is climate change, what is happening and all that. As leaders, I believe that when these organizations are choosing us, they are choosing the most influential people in the community so that we go and disseminate information in the community. So if we increase more of climate education and workshops, you understand that we will go an extra mile in educating people, right? As group 3 as well, we do not want to play the blame. We do not want to play the blame game. We also took the responsibility as citizens. We contribute to this climate change. How are we contributing to this? Kurasa marara pese pese and all that. So our strategy number 5 was to be a responsible citizens. You understand? Our strategy number 5 was to be responsible citizens. How can you be responsible? By placing litter into the garbage bins. By recycling litter. If you use a bottle, you can recycle that to carry water. If you use a paper that can be used and all that, you can put in the recycle bins and all that, right? Our strategies are very much, sorry, Zing. Our next strategy was better forest management and our better forestry management policies, right? Yes, why not put in place policies that prosecute everyone who we see cutting down trees? We have the authorities in here, the Chapter 16 authority, we have the stakeholders here, which is the Zimbabwe Republic Police. Why not push for them to prosecute everyone that you see cutting down trees, that you see putting litter everywhere? If you go to Blawayo, they know that if you go to Gweru, they know that if you are seen throwing down litter, you are prosecuted for a fine. In Hwange, this is a serious case. Let's prosecute for a jail term. Conservation of water. We also talked about conservation. We all know that our rivers are dry. Zambezi is dry for a fact. Understand? We experienced this, we witnessed this. If you are going to Blawayo, you see how dry these rivers are. Like, we never imagined that there was a river there. It's dry, like totally dry. And in that situation, you see someone planting onions, tomatoes, and other to start a business. You are misusing water, Moses. Why not? Why not conserve water? Let's conserve water as citizens. This point falls under the responsibilities as citizens. This also point falls under climate. Okay, it was another point that I'm going to tell you about. And this also comes under the vocational training centers that we have in Hwange. Let's make use of those, right? To educate people. We do not want you to plant onions. What else can you do? Make use of your hands. Do your hair. Like Marco doesn't have a barber. Come and do my hair and all that. Those are other types of businesses that you can do besides planting onions and all that. So let's make use of our vocational training center. In Hwange, we have the other one that I saw. Yeah, they're done. Then the other one that I saw before Target, that one that is well built there. And so let's make use of those vocational training centers and our skills as youth, right? Last but not least, let's sit down, engage with the stakeholders, and find an industrial solution that can help us. Because as much as we might do everything, the industries are still emitting, right? So let's sit down. The only way that you can do, we can write petitions. We have written many petitions to the parliament. We recently submitted another petition. Am I wrong? We recently submitted another petition as Hwange Youth. But these petitions will maybe file up and be attended by the next government or next 5 years. And let's sit down and engage in a civilized manner, engage and talk as stakeholders and find an industrial solution. And with this, I've never been proud to present to you. Thank you.
It goes back to what I said. In Zimbabwe, corporate social responsibility is a gentleman's agreement. You know, it's not forcible. It's not enforceable. We are only now just trying to address it through ESG framework. But this is the first year now we are going to now start seeing a round of farmer sustainability reports. So it is still, going back to your question, it is still at the choice rather of the company to say, do I want to do that or not? But there's nothing in T20 that's saying, as you operate, please take stock of your impact on the environment. You see, so unfortunately, but maybe touching back on the question he has trying to answer there, maybe Marco is having a challenge because he's new to Hwange. I've been in Hwange for a very long time. You know, I used to remember a time when the companies did business perfect. We didn't see pollution. I used to remember because back then coal wasn't carried by trucks. Coal was ferried by rail. no interaction with what? With smaller vehicles. Nema potholes, they say, Bangapasina, the road was smooth, my guy. Ask Ray here. Ray used to live in the collier. Could buy from the collier, about 3 minutes, pass cruiser. Right now, no kangano. No sugar sad. So, unfortunately, what happens, it's not a problem to say that coal is bad. Usage of coal is what is creating the problems. Because after all, the roads you see within the network concession, there used to be a tar pits, Pansla. How many know the old power station? Pansla, the old power station, there used to be a network. The system used to harvest tar, bitumen, and all these others. Then they would then now take and harness these extra byproducts to conduct road construction. So it is not a problem. The system was functioning properly. What creates problems is the harnessing of these fuels without what? A strategy to mitigate. When they conduct what is known as an ESIA, Environmental Social Impact Assessment, the law now detects that we take into stock social issues. But unfortunately, when we amended the law, we were not clear now on what happens to already existing mining activities.